the mortgage broker here in town. One thing I do best, because I know a lot of you have a lender that you know and love on my way here, literally, I got a call, my lender can't qualify my buyer. Can you please help us? And yeah, his words were, do you have a ninja that can help me? And I said, expletive, yes. And I sent him a good contact. We have an office right across the hall if you are my home group agent, but you'll hear from me after. I'll give you all my contact info. So, super excited for today. If the panelists would like to come up and have a seat, that would be great. All right, I know you guys are just as excited as I am to be here today and learn from these guys. I want to start out by saying I put them to the ultimate test this past week. I gave their social handles to my 19-year-old daughter, and I said, give it all to me, and she gave me a report. She said, who's great, who's the best on TikTok, who's got the most followers, all of these things, and so I'm super excited to hear from each of you, so let's get right into things. Will you please just start out by introducing yourself, tell me how long you've been in the business, and if you'd start out with what percentage of your business comes from your social media? Go ahead and start if you would.
So my name is Lacey Dable. On social media, I'm Lacey Lebec. Just got married, so you can go by either or. Thank you. And so I got started in real estate about 5 years ago. I got started in the investment space by building my own rental portfolio. And then after a couple of years of staying in single family, I moved to multifamily. I did multifamily for a few years, and then recently left that, and now I'm just doing full-time residential sales. I combine forces with my husband, and so we do a little bit of everything, do a little bit of creative sales too, and I'm really happy to be here. So thanks for having me.
Of course.
Oh, and then as far as the business from social media, so since I moved strictly to sales within residential, I would say right now it's about like 90% buyer leads are from social media, especially with property walkthrough videos. Those get a really, really good response on social media. So that's been great.
It's amazing. Okay.
Hi guys, I'm Stephanie Lugo. I am a husband and wife duo with Bryce back there. We are going on 10 years, and we've been with my home group that entire time, which is super cool. We started out as like that classic, we left our 9 to 5 to get into real estate because we thought it'd be a great way to start our own business, and then realized it was so much more difficult, so much more involved than we kind of anticipated getting into it. And in those days, we didn't really have like a huge network, a lot of people that we could lean on for business. And so we built our business off of social media. That was like 2014, 2015, 2016. We went all in on Instagram at that time, and now of course there's like TikTok and other ways to really reach people. And at one point, Instagram alone was like 70% of our business. And now we've taken such great care of those clients who came in organically that way that now we're primarily referral. So we don't have to be like tied to the social media as much anymore, but it's still a really important way that we stay in touch with our clients and continue to get repeat and referral.
Great. Awesome. Josh.
Hello everybody, my name is Josh Zuniga. I just had twins 2 weeks ago. That's a huge milestone. I'm super excited about that. They haven't come home yet, but when they do, I'll be glad to again. So, my background is my family's been in real estate for the last 30 years. My parents run a credit reporting agency called Advanced Credit Reporting. My brother's been a lender for 25 years. He was for a mortgage. I got licensed in 2013. I did corporate world for a couple of years. That's the same year I also got licensed. But in 2016, I went full-time here with actually my home group. I'm not with my home group anymore, but they're still a huge part of my family. So a huge part of my heart to always show up today. Yeah, we've done quite a lot of business right now. I'm currently partnered in Ken James Realty. We're in 4 different states. I have over 100 different agents that we work with. But as far as social media, I saw the light bulb of social media back in 2016, and I was on the Joshua Smith team, or the Visto team. He was the one that actually gave me the blueprint, or I saw what his blueprint was, and I saw what was working. This is what he told me. He's like, Josh, social media is where the game is, it's where it's going, it's where it's going to stay. Where do you want to be? You want to be in the game or not? So I want to be in the game. Sorry, all right, we get busy. And I've taken that for the last almost 10 years, and I've ran with it. So to ask you what part of my business is like in social media, I'd safely say it's anywhere between 50 to 70%. It's hard to track deals specifically unless you do like a direct DM. But we'll probably get more into the discussion on the psychology of what social media really is and why it's so important and why you should be doing it. And the conversations that I'm having with clients now that aren't even in front of me.
Love that. I want to encourage you guys as well. If one of our panelists is saying something and you have a question, and if you're like me and you have really bad ADD and you know you're not going to remember, I'm totally fine with you raising your hand and asking them a question. Okay, and I'm sure you guys are too, right? So if you feel free to take the liberty to do that. So let's get started. My first question, I happen to know all three of you use Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Okay, so if you were to tell me, starting with Lacey, which one has been the most successful of the three, which one would you say, and which one, if any, surprised you, good or bad?
So for me, it's definitely Instagram with what I'm currently doing. And I also think that it depends on who your avatar is. So who your dream customer is, who that client is, you need to go to the platform that works best with that avatar. So in the multifamily days, we started by like trial by fire. We did the Alex Hormozi attempt where we hit every single platform 3 times a day. So YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok 3 times a day. So it's a lot of content and it's very exhausting. And quite frankly, the algorithm did not prefer that. So after a while, our business model ended up changing. And so then we ended up putting more ad spend behind Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So that ended up being much more successful on that front. However, now with the residential side, I would say Instagram all the way. Also, I've been on Instagram for quite a bit, so it's like you have people that you have like true, real relationships with, and that's a lot more natural to be able to talk to them about real estate, and then referrals come a lot easier with that as well. So I would definitely say Instagram, but quite frankly, it's kind of like a CRM. It doesn't work unless you use it.
Very good point. Stephanie?
Yeah, I would have to kind of second that point. It really depends on your ideal client. So for us, getting into real estate, we knew that we were going to kind of focus on first-time home buyers, second-time moving up, at least in those earlier years, and those people just are on Instagram. And so for us, that worked exceptionally well. Now that being said, Facebook, we've closed deals, TikTok, we've closed deals. TikTok was even easier for us to close deals quickly as soon as we got onto it, which I found was really interesting, and they were in that ideal client kind of grouping as well. But I think for every agent, before thinking about where you want to spend as much time to be successful, think about where your ideal clients are spending time. And that's going to definitely come back to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if I were writing notes, I'd be like, who's my ideal client? That's where you start before we even get into the next thing. Josh?
Yeah, third, everything that they said, and I guess kind of take away who I see as like whatever you want to say your ideal client or who your audience actually is. So I'm 34, going to be 35 in April. So I know that my clients that mainly on Instagram are going to be probably from 25 to 45 is what I see as far as my audience. When you go into these settings, you can see your insights. You can see exactly who your audience is and broken out from men and from women. On my Facebook audience, it's more of like more mature, my parents' age, I would like to say, right? Probably going to be 50 and all the way up. Grandma and grandpa going in and starting to make comments and they share things. That's going to be more of the demographic that I see on there, but it's also still engaging for the younger ones as well. So really, if you want to break it up in age and which audience you're actually trying to go for, I hit both. I know it's exhausting to say you were saying YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram. Like it's literally like almost half an hour just to post on all those individually. But if I were to give you advice, choose to run with it, give it 6 months, because nothing on social media happens in 30 days. Give it 6 months, stay committed, put your head down, figure out what your strategy is going to be, and just go.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
So none of you guys mentioned you mentioned YouTube briefly, but none of you guys used that as a major pillar. And I know there's a big distinction between the two because one's more scrollable where the other one's more research heavy. What's your guys' experience with YouTube?
YouTube is a monster. It really is. It's almost its own animal, I would say. I've been on YouTube for going on like 2 years now, and I'm still trying to figure out, really how it is, right? And there's a lot that goes into it as far as their algorithm, their titles, their tags, the description that you do, how you actually do your videos. And a majority of my audience that I see on YouTube is men. I don't know how many women here actually use YouTube, but as men, we go there if we want to learn something, boom, we're on YouTube. So that's primarily who consumes my content, depending on whatever you guys are actually trying to go for. But if it's on the women's side, anything for like moms on YouTube, boom, there's just there. I recently know that because I've been doing things with my wife and pregnancy and all that kind of stuff too. So YouTube is definitely a wonderful thing to do. That's probably the last one I would try to figure out because it's probably going to be the hardest to actually really see traction on there unless what you're doing is going to be very niche and very critique. Like I've started to adjust my YouTube strategy over the last year probably like 3 different times, and now it's going to be strictly on seller focus rather than buyer focused. Buyers are liars, and a lot of times I get burned too many times, and now I'm going to just go straight for listings. So.
Good for you. Good answer. That was going to be one of my questions down the road was how long would you take of a commitment? So if everyone leaves here and does exactly what you guys say to do, right? Do you two agree that you want to give it a solid 6 months? Do you have a different opinion?
So I think it can happen a lot quicker than 6 months. I think it can happen as quick as like 30 days, just posting consistently every single day. I think 6 months, yes, that helps to establish yourself on the platform. However, in 30 days, you can do a lot of magic within that time. And what you also have to look at is if somebody's coming to your page, and I'm sure you two can agree, like you want a few scrolls of that exact content. So if you start today and everything on your feed is very personal and not much real estate, and it's just like, what you're doing on the weekends or whatnot, whoever's going to look at your page, they're smart. Consumers are savvy these days, and they're going to want a few different scrolls to be able to see that you're established, and it can happen pretty quickly within 30 days, I would say. But 6 months, absolutely, like you definitely want to be seasoned in it, and then it helps with your following too, because then you're constantly like front of mind on them, literally like in their hand every single day. So when they go to think, okay, who's in real estate or whatever, you're the first person that they think of because they're constantly seeing you.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts on this. So in addition to the real estate stuff, we also have a coaching program where we teach real estate agents across the US and Canada these strategies like for Instagram, for social media, and then tying that into a referral-based business. And so we have tested with over 600 agents directly in the program how to, as quickly as we can, get those results. Definitely within 30 days, you can see some significant results, whether it's clients coming in or re-engaging with people you already know, or straight up like getting a deal, like literally getting somebody under contract within 30 days. And the key to doing that is not just posting and ghosting, as we say, but actually engaging. So again, one thing that Lacey said that I love is like, it's kind of like a CRM. If you're not going to use it, it's not going to work for you. You can't just post and ghost and assume people are going to find you and immediately fall in love with you. If you are posting along with a strategy that includes a lot of engagements, where you are reaching out to people, you're sending direct messages, you're commenting, you're replying to stories, absolutely you're going to see really quick success. And a lot of the agents that I coach, whether they are brand new or 20 years in the business, see that. Now, to Josh's point, 6 months is absolutely where you want to be tracking. You don't want to make a decision whether or not that actually worked or didn't until you have enough data to track. And because we are on a 90-day sales cycle in real estate, you need to be tracking your results. How many times are you posting? How many times a day are you engaging thoughtfully? And how many leads a week are you actually generating? From those leads, which ones are actually closing? That is something that you want to do in those 3 to 6 months with any lead source, regardless, but especially with social media, because it can take you a while to find your footing and to connect with your audience and also to develop the content strategy that will work.
Yeah. I'll say this, guys. I started doing video marketing 10 years ago. Ask me if I've stopped. I haven't. Has Nike stopped since they started? Has Adidas stopped?
Yeah.
Has all these major brands stopped? One of the things that we really have to get through our minds here in our mindset is that branding, marketing, and advertising is the lifeblood and oxygen of any business. It's the lifeblood and oxygen of your business. If people don't know you, they don't see you, they're never going to get an opportunity to actually build a relationship with you. And without that relationship, you're never going to get that phone call, because when they have a relationship with you online, that's where trust is established. And it happens over a series of times. Case in point, I have a client that I've been working with for 5 years that saw me on social media. And we're making a $1.2 million offer today. But if they would have never saw me 5 years ago, I would have never started that conversation with them online, and it wouldn't bring us to this point. So what you have to understand is, like, even 6 months is definitely the way for you to start tracking the data, but you have to be in this for the long haul. If you're gonna be a professional, start acting like a professional when it comes to your branding, your marketing, and advertising, and take it serious. Like, this is your livelihood, this is your future, this is your family's future. And I'm gonna, excuse my language, don't do it half-ass. Do not.
I love that. It's just like anything else, you guys. Like, I did an open house for 2 weeks in a row. Well, those don't work, right? It's like, I'm a direct sales coach, and I say 90 days minimum of doing something consistently, and then come tell me if you think it's going to work or not. So I think to give it 6 months is more than reasonable.
I have a question.
Yeah.
On social media, if you want to start, obviously you have your personal pictures and things like that. Now, do you suggest an agent that has too much of her personal life or his or her personal life on social media to start a new page and then promote that new page, or to just clean up their initial page that already has the organic followers? Because say I have 2,500 followers, but my views on my reels are getting 8,000 views. So I'm still, attracting a certain market, but it's just a matter of, do we change that completely and just go, or just clean it up where just make sure it's tasteful and minimal, or what do you guys suggest? Because that's where I was torn, if I was going to make a new page and separate them, or if it makes me look more personable, because I am sharing some of my.
So that's a good question, and it is one of my questions. So yes, that. And I was going to start out with Lacey on this, because my feedback is that Lacey does a really good job of mixing, from my 19-year-old, of mixing personal and business and things like that. So why don't you go ahead and take the lead on this? And first of all, if you started off with a personal page, what do you recommend from here? And then second of all, what do you recommend for the mixture of personal versus business? Because I know I'll post business all day, but I post a picture of me on a hike and it lights up. You know what I mean? So what's your insight on that?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and I think that's something that everybody kind of struggles with at some point. Like, how much personal do you put out there in association with business? Do you start it on your personal page? Do you create a second page? So what I like to do is I like to keep it probably around like 20-30% personal, and then the rest business. And the reason for that is, most of my life is real estate right now. My husband and I, we both do real estate. There's not very much else that's going on our life right now besides like our dogs and working out and yoga and whatnot. But to that point, I do always like to post things that are very important to me in hopes that I'm going to find clients that align with that. So I always post about hot yoga, we're going to church, our faith, and just things that we morally connect with, I like to post. And then I also post about our family, and then like our wedding and whatnot, and like people start to connect with that too, and then they want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. And if it's just all business, and then they have no idea who you are, they're kind of going to be like, all right, well, that's just another business. Like, I don't know what's unique about them. So I would say 20 to 30%, at least for me, works really well, so people can start to know who I am in the process. And I like to look at it also as like, I listen to podcasts all day. Like, does everybody else listen to podcasts to some extent? Do you not feel like you're like best friends with the podcast speaker? Like, there's certain podcasts that I feel like if I met them in person, I would know exactly who they are. They'd have no idea who I am, but that's neither here nor there. But I feel like taking it in the same idea on your social media is really important, because then people are going to start to know you inadvertently through your social media. So then it's just a much easier conversation when it does come to business.
And so would you recommend, if someone's newer into the business and they've always done their personal social media, I've had some newer agents express concern, like, will I lose interest or followers now by switching into business? So, maybe, I don't know, like, Stephanie, you're a coach on this. I mean, maybe, what would you recommend for that?
Yeah, don't burn down your personal profiles and start from scratch. That's a terrible idea across the board. Continue doing what you're doing and what works, and start to sprinkle in some of the professional content, like some of the real estate side of things. And you can even do it from a personal angle, right? So like, for example, when I'm talking to brand new agents, they're like, well, I've only ever posted personal stuff and I don't really have a lot going on right now with transactions. And I'm like, cool, show the journey of a new agent getting things started. Let your people see the behind the scenes of that. It's still personal content, but you're showing it from the professional side of you. And that is going to get people tied into your mission. And that's what we did that really helped us just explode our following, but more importantly, really go deep with our community and actually build a community of people who were following along with our story. Like, people were rooting for us, whether we were getting engaged and getting married in those early years, or through our flipping, or just through like our clients for life. And I think that that's kind of a good rule of thumb. If you want a quick deal, just focus on posting your professional stuff. But if you want clients for life, post a mix.
Okay. Josh, what about you? What mix is your formula?
Well, here's one thing I really want to identify too, because a lot of agents, get really kind of down or sad on themselves. Like, hey, I posted a video and like only 30 people watched it, or I got like 20 likes, or anything like that, right? I want you have to have like a very don't care attitude, especially when you're posting about real estate, and those vanity metrics need to just go out the window, okay? Because just because you get 20 likes, you only need one person to actually watch that video to start engaging with them mentally. It doesn't even have to be over the actual conversation yet, or even over the phone call, but now they're seeing you show up as real estate. Now they're seeing you start as your journey. And now they're starting to follow you, and they're like, hey, now I know if I start this conversation now, in 3 months when I'm ready to buy, I want to call Stephanie. But if I would have never started that conversation with her up here and start building a relationship here, then you're going to completely just lose out on all of those opportunities, right? So for me personally, I used to get upset about like, why isn't this performing, right? You want to do this, you want to do well, you want this to get in front of as many people, as possible, okay? And I finally had to get rid of that, mindset like 3 years ago. On my personal page, everybody loves post about my wife and my kids, and when it's just me, zero. Nobody cares about John. And it's like, it's totally fine because my wife and kids are way cooler than I am. Absolutely too. So I do a good mix of what it is, just like you were saying. Allow people to engage with who you are as a human being, right? Create relatability. Show people who you are as far as your faith. Show people who you are as far as your hobbies. Once you find those connection points, it's going to be a lot easier for them to choose you as a real estate agent, because just like with the podcast, they already feel who you are. Allow social media to be your reality TV show. I can take away any from that. Allow social media to be your reality TV show, and allow people in to know who you are. And from there, it's just naturally where these clients will just start showing up, I promise.
I just have one more thing to ask. What's the best algorithm as far as to get the most views in the day? Because I know there's a certain time that they say where they post between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. and they'll get more views as opposed to posting it at 9 p.m. at night. I've seen it personally with mine, and my biggest video is at 8,000 views, but I posted at like noon. But just asking is that true as far as the algorithm with the videos to get more views? Because essentially getting the views is the first part, right? And that's what generates people to your profile initially that don't follow you.
The simplest way is to just look at your insights and see when your audience is on, and then just try to hit that window. But if over-analyzing that and overthinking that is a problem for any of you, don't think about the algorithm. Don't think about the time windows. Don't create more barriers of friction.
How do you check your insights?
So if you have a business style account where you have a creator account, so for example, we always recommend agents have a creator account. You can switch that anytime if you currently have a professional account. Creator accounts will just give you further insights, and that's my personal preference.
I don't know which account I have, but
yeah. So if you care about the algorithm stuff, then switch to a creator account, because that'll give you access to the insights, and then you're not guessing.
Okay.
And it's right there within the app. You don't have to use a third party.
Did you mean digital creator or something different?
Yeah, I think I just go down for digital.
That's just in your settings on Instagram?
Yeah, you can go to your settings, swap account, or switch account type, whatever it's called.
Business, creator, and personal,
Yeah.
I think.
On all the platforms?
Instagram.
Oh, only Instagram.
Facebook too.
Oh, Facebook too?
For business pages maybe, or?
Yeah, just create one.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really good too. So you can see, to your point though, don't overanalyze it too, because you can definitely get lost in the sauce on that and be like, oh no, am I posting it? Oh, I need to wait till tomorrow. Just, action is much more important than inaction on it. But the insights is super helpful to see. You can see gender, you can see like how many are females versus males and what
Age demographics.
yeah, age, and then cities and even countries. Like you'll be surprised at what you can see there. And then it'll also show you time frames where your following is most active on the app. So if you can hit around, you know, the time where you have the most following on the app, that's typically best.
I've just never been able to find out how to switch my account.
Well, let's cover that after,
Okay.
and maybe we can send out some information on that way, you know what I mean?
Or just Google it, because everyone's
Yeah.
phone is going to be different. So
Oh,
any
okay.
instructions we give is going to be different. You need to Google it for your
Okay.
phone type and your account.
Yeah, well, it is.
To answer your question, like, just think about when you guys are on the phone. What is your activity? So I know that my activity is probably going to be best between like 7 and 8 a.m. So that's when I post. That's when I'm engaging with people's feeds. So that's when I want to show up on people's accounts. Right before lunch, 11 o'clock, 11:30, boom. When they're on their lunch period, they're going to start seeing it there. Right after dinner, right? If you see moms that are putting the babies down, having dinner, swap up, you know if those are the ones that you're going for. But that's like you want to talk to, you know, single moms for find your first home, whatever case may be. Then post, you know, probably like around 7 o'clock. Just kind of just play with it and see exactly what you're trying to go for.
I like that. In this same realm, where was my question? Is there anything you use or have found helpful, or we don't want to overthink it, to optimize your post, for instance, like hashtags, that type of thing?
So I don't use hashtags, to be honest. I used to add those into the bottom of like the caption, but I don't anymore. What I do, and this is like it's a weird tip. I don't know if it actually works or not, but it's worked so far for me, so I'm gonna keep doing it, is if you're posting a reel within your actual reel in the app, and this is Instagram specifically, and TikTok, write out all of what you would have be the hashtag. So real estate agent, kitchen, bathroom remodel, and just like flood it with a bunch of keywords. Minimize the text and shoot it off the screen, because when you post that reel, it's going to hit the algorithm on whatever texts are in your video, but no one's gonna see it. So it's kind of like a hidden way to hack the algorithm, I think. Again, it's worked so far, but give that a shot. And then as far as optimizing, not necessarily. I try to be less than a minute for reels, specifically less than 30 seconds is preferred, but definitely less than a minute. Everybody has like 3-second attention spans these days, so you definitely want to hit them right off the bat with something short and sweet, because you know you're about to be on the next scroll. And then within the first 3 seconds of a video, try to have a good hook, you know. Try to get their engagement right off the bat, have a good hook, whatever it is, even if it's like a little controversial, you know, here's why I don't buy investment properties, or whatever it is. Like, have that hook be really strong, so then people see and be like, oh wait, what is that? That's kind of different than what you normally say, or you know, what I normally think about real estate. Have a strong hook, shorten video, and then the last one is just have really good quality in your videos. The apps do favor higher quality videos, so I did end up buying a new iPhone because I do most of my content on my iPhone, and it has a fantastic camera, so, and upload in 4K. Those are some of my only tips for editing.
Have any of you used like cameras, like a Canon camera, to do your content on?
So
No.
I have a YouTube channel, and for that I use professional equipment, but if you're just doing social media, like absolutely just iPhone all the way.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get these little USB, or not USB, where they little lightning port mics, like lapel mics off of Amazon. They're like $10, $20.
Yeah.
If you have trouble with audio, or if people are like calling you out for it, but like as long as you're not like covering the mouthpiece on your phone, like you'll be totally fine with what you have. Don't overcomplicate it.
And you can always tell when somebody does, because they're super close.
Or you
Right on
hear
roughly.
yeah. Yeah.
Stephanie, what about you with like the hashtags or the optimization?
I don't really see a difference in terms of creating content besides some of the things that Lacey said. Good quality lighting, good quality audio, make sure people can hear you, have a hook. The thing that we do, that I teach my agents to do that has the greatest impact overall is a rule of thumb that we call 10-10-5. And what we do is every single day, this is how we literally just stay in touch with everybody in 15 minutes or less a day. We engage with 10 people down the feed, and we do this right before we post. We engage with 10 people down the feed, meaning we are leaving 10 thoughtful comments, and we are selectively leaving comments on people who we want to see our post. So that's people who we already know, or people like local businesses in the community that we want to be connecting with. And then we do the same thing across the top, and this is Instagram, but also Facebook, you can do the same thing across the top with stories. So sending 10 direct messages, again, being selective in who you're reaching out to. And then we take it a step further and we go into the Explore tab, which is going to help you connect with other people who you don't already follow or who don't already follow you. And then you might search key terms like Phoenix Foodie or Phoenix Moms, and then engage with 5 new accounts. And that's going to do a couple of things. Number one, when you then post, right after you're done with that post is going to be optimized to be in front of your audience. So you're going to get higher reach organically without having to pay for it, without having to worry about hashtags or quality. And then it's also going to be suggested, or have a higher likelihood to get on the Explore page and be suggested to new followers, because in the 5, when you've engaged with new people who you might not already follow, you're telling Instagram what groups you want to be hanging out with. And that's the absolute hands down best way, beyond buying ads, beyond hashtags, beyond anything. Like, that's what's going to do it for you.
Sorry, question, sorry. In regards to that, when you say engage with the 5 new accounts, are you saying like also follow them, or just kind of leave a comment?
If you so feel that you want to follow them, then absolutely do. So for example, if I see like a new restaurant or like a trendy new like cocktail lounge coming in my area, that is an interest of mine, that's an interest of my ideal clients, so I'm absolutely going to follow them to like stay along with updates, maybe even check them out later, because like it's a social media platform, and so we're using this for our own interests as well, because whatever we put out there is what's going to come back to us, right? So like totally I'll follow them. If I see, here's a great example, I needed a photographer, I needed a new photographer in our lineup. We've been amazingly lucky to work with some of the best photographers in the Valley, and they've all bought homes from us. And then as their businesses get like really busy and successful, their availability is not quite what we need, so then we have to like find someone new to add to that like lineup, right? So this last week I was looking for a photographer, and that was part of my 5. I needed to have a new referral person who was a photographer specifically for branding, and I found somebody just through my 5, and I followed them, liked a bunch of their content, and I could have left it there, but because I also needed to know somebody, I needed to add someone in my network, I then like reached out to them personally. So think about that, especially if you are just starting to, if you're just starting to grow your professional networks, think about who you're looking to reach out to and start building your professional network from Instagram. Because that is like literally a core part of how we started tapping into other people's networks to get more referrals.
So I got the first 10, but what was the second 10?
Across the stories.
Across the stories.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So think down, across, and then out.
Another little hack too is that you can start partnering with other people and start showing up on their audience by do a piece of content with them and be a collaborator.
I love that.
So if say there's a restaurant out there, you do a little video on them and they agree to actually post it, and they say they accept your collaboration with them, it goes on their feed. Now you're exposed to their entire audience, whether it's in your community or where you live. I think that's a really good way to actually start getting your name out there and start showing up, because that's just a whole branding play. Because you have to understand, a lot of what social media is just a brand play. These are my initials right here. This is a brand play, right? Everything that I do with video, it's a brand play. Every time we do something like with the stories with the kids, and where I have hats that have my logo on it, it's a brand play. So start showing up in the subconscious of people. So when they identify with you, like, oh hey, I saw your video with that new taco shop that's coming out. You're Jay-Z, right? Just stuff like that. It's really just where you can start to see and start to shine in a lot of areas.
What do you guys recommend as far as our names? Like changing our profile names to, because another realtor said something that says Farrah sells real estate or something like, what do you guys recommend as far as your name? Because I feel like that should be changed so that people can associate your name. Unless they click on your profile, they wouldn't see that you do real estate unless they see it essentially in your profile name, or what are your thoughts on that?
I can't remember exactly how I did it, but my tag is just my name, and then I think once you go to my profile, it's like Lacey Dable or Lacey Levac Real Estate or something like that, but I don't think that's as important. I'm not sure.
I have some very passionate thoughts about this. Okay, so we have to, I'm curious to hear your feedback on this. So we want to think of the function of social media, right, as what it's actually doing for us. You have to own your name, in my opinion, and for a couple of different reasons. So in terms of like the actual like asterisk, the username, like what is that, or the ad, like first name, last name. Own your name. And the reason for that is because Instagram and social media aside, you meet an open house lead, you get a referral, you find someone online, what is the first thing they're going to do?
Look up your name.
They're going to Google you. They're going to look up your name. And so the easier you can make it for them to find you on a place where they already have a trusting relationship with it, which is likely Instagram. If they see that you have an active account on Instagram, that's going to be the very first return. Like, they're going to search your name, and they're going to see your Zillow profile, your Realtor.com profile, and then your Instagram, and then your Facebook. That's how it's going to go every single time. And so if you have your first name, last name, and then maybe some like keywords as real estate selectively put into your bio, which there are some strategic ways that you can do that, that is going to make it the easiest for people to find you, because we also want Instagram to be a conversion tool for you, for the other leads that you're already getting, so that you can like double dip with that. But to your point, like even if someone's searching for you on Instagram, first name, last name. Make it as clear and easy as possible.
I'm super passionate about that too.
I had a feeling that
absolutely. So the first thing I did was I bought my URL name, joshzuniga.com. And then my email is josh@joshzuniga.com. All my handles are Josh Zuniga or Josh Zuniga _ because some guy hacked me and took my name right after that. So you want to own exactly who you are. And another one that I don't know if I mentioned it, Google My Business. If you guys don't have a Google My Business page, and as soon as they type you in, or you hand out a business card, or it's an investor, they're going to look you up, and they're going to see exactly who you are. They're going to run their information. They're going to see exactly who you are as an individual. This is where your personal stuff comes in, right? He's a nice guy. He's got kids. He likes to ride his Can-Am. He likes to go out on a boat. Oh, and he does real estate. And here's another thing, guys. As far as I know, we're trying to do make a video and have 10,000 views on it, and so on and so forth. Best way that I've built my business is just hand-to-hand handshakes like this. What I mean by that, whenever I go to a new event, or whenever I'm going to a networking event, or just meeting with new people, I always have a goal of meeting 1 or 2 people, and I want to get their social media profiles. Say, hey guys, it was really great, meeting with you today. Let me get your profile, see if we can stay connected. But what are they going to do tomorrow morning? They're going to see that I added them, and they're going to go through there. They're going to see everything about my family and my life, and they're going to see that I do real estate. And it's not even a hard sell. But eventually, over time, they're going to stay connected with you, and guess what? 6 months, hey Josh, I saw you do real estate. I've had so many deals just come from some guerrilla marketing just like that. People don't know exactly what you're doing or what your strategy is, but it's very, 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 very effective. And it's a warm touch. They already met you, right? And this is what I call the power of 3, guys. This is something that I learned, 10 years ago, right? When you meet somebody new, when there's that networking, get their social media, and then you connect for the first time. You had a good conversation, so they know who you are already. The very next day, you say, hey, it was great having a conversation with you. Let's get that coffee we were talking about. That's touch 2, okay? You're not even going to talk about real estate there. You're just going to get to know who they are as an individual, support them, and invite them to a 3rd event, maybe later on, maybe a week later. Say, hey, we're going to get some beers with the boys, and maybe we're going to shoot some balls. Like, you want to join us? By that 3rd touch, you have a friend for life. All you have to do is maintain that relationship. If you can do that as many times as possible, I guarantee those are going to turn into clients. Guaranteed.
I'm asking this in case some of you are shy in this room, because obviously you 3 are 3 naturally more extroverted humans, right? What advice would you give for someone who's maybe more introverted and in a networking situation? They're not just like jumping out of their skin to like have conversations and bring something like that up.
With asking for a hand?
Yeah.
Well,
See, to you, it's probably really like second nature, right? But like I work with agents that are like paralyzed, like what do I say? What if they don't want to share it with me? All of these things in their head.
Okay, well this is where you guys, it's about digging deep now, right? I used to be a very shy kid. I swear, I was a very, very shy guy. Even at the age of 18, I knew I was never the first one to shake a man's hand. And if I knew if I wanted to change something, if I wanted to be somebody in this world, I need to start being the first person to speak up. I need to start taking charge of my life. This is my future. If I'm not, you think I'm going to tell my family, sorry honey, I was too scared to ask for their Instagram, so we're not going to eat today. We're not going to get that deal. But it's something that you really have to identify with and be real with yourself. What's the bigger purpose and what's the bigger reason of why you are not deciding to do this? You need to get out of your own way. You need to get out of your own head. And that's even for me. Trust me, I've been doing this social media thing for over 10 years. And there's some videos that I even have in my phone still that I haven't posted. Because you get caught up in the sauce, or you get lost in the sauce, right? Oh, I missed the right time, you know, all that kind of stuff. You guys, you have to do this for your business. I'm not saying you absolutely have to just go in on social media. There's a lot of other ways you can actually do it with farming and whatnot. But if you're here, it's because you think that social media has some kind of weight to it. And trust me, it does. It's changed all of our lives and all of our businesses in a very significant way, and it's going to continue to do so. We're not lying to you by any means. This is definitely a way that you can build your business, so why not take the opportunity?
What I think is hilarious is that any of you think I'm an extrovert. I have fooled you all successfully. No, I am a major introvert, and the reason we started on Instagram is because I wasn't going to be cold calling people who could like slam the phones on me, or like getting rejected at open houses over like, excuse me, like no, that was literally me. I was 22 years old when I got into real estate. I wasn't an extrovert, and I didn't even have like half the vocabulary that I should have as a real estate agent who wanted to talk about professional stuff. But like you learn it, right? So you take action, and the way that I see it is like when you get into real estate, you're in like this circular room, like the Department of Mysteries for my Harry Potter fans, and you're in the circular room, and there's doors all around you, and behind every door is a different strategy to grow your business. And you can open up any doors. There's a million things you can do. You can do the cold calling route. You can do the door knocking route. Neither of those are doors I wanted to open. You can do the paying for leads route. We didn't have a budget. We couldn't do that. So like what we could do was right in front of us, and we had to make it work. And so we just took action, and it like really sucked, and it was really uncomfortable for a while. And it's still, like to your point, it's still uncomfortable sometimes. Like my hands were sweating coming in here, even talking to you guys. Like it's really going on film. Like you know when you go live and you're like, okay, on. Like you have to kind of just like switch it.
I think imposter syndrome is a real thing, but at the end of the day, like, who are the people that you see the most in your life? Your family, your closest friends, and then all the other 2,000, 3,000, they don't see you. Maybe once a year if you're lucky. Like, people don't know you on social media unless you're face-to-face with them and, like, having a real relationship with them, so who cares, right? Like, I think that's a real thing. It's like, you know, the imposter syndrome going on social media and like posting a story like, hey guys, what's up? Like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Maybe you'll do a few takes and then you're like, oh shoot, X, and then you redo it and you're like, if anybody's watching me, they're gonna think I'm a total freak right now because I said the same video 15 times. That happened to me yesterday when I was making a story for this. I was like, oh, that sounded really dumb. Like,
do you ever have to like leave the room if your husband is around and you're like,
look
at me?
Yeah.
Or like, can you just leave the room for just like half a second so I can finish this?
1,000%. We usually are not in the same house when we do it. Because it's even like embarrassing where you're like, oh gosh, that sounded stupid. Like, I stumbled on my words. End of day, who cares? Who cares? And like, if anyone's gonna judge you, then they're probably not your friends or family anyways, right?
Or they judge you until they buy a house from you because you're inconsistent, which is even better.
Or they come back and they ask you for questions for a contractor, and you're like, well, you should have worked with me the first time. Like,
I'll answer that, guys. Like, the videos, you know, they get easier over time, but we're still self-conscious.
for sure.
Even myself, right? Nobody likes the way they hear on video. I think I sound like a wuss. Like, that is so bad. Just post it. No, that's why there's still videos in my phone. I haven't posted it. It just didn't sound right? Or if I know a lot of like women and men be like, oh, my hair was this, or my makeup was that. Don't even trust me. I've seen women that post videos that are just like even doing their makeup talking about real estate. They're not even having a full hair of makeup. They're not having to get that all done. And those videos crank. Those do really, really well because it feels like it's real. Like you're just talking to them. It's like a day in the life, you know, with that too, right? My first video that I made, I remember exactly where I was. I was with this videographer, Connor, in his house, and it took me 22 takes. 22, guys. And I still didn't post it. I'm being serious. I still didn't post it because I was just so caught up in my head. But guess what? You know, we are the professionals here. It's not many times where you have, you know, somebody that's actually going to fact check you. But you're worried about, oh, what's the lender going to say? You know, this, that, and part of my network. What's the other agents going to say? You're more worried about them and making sure that your facts are there, right? Don't worry about it because guess what? They're probably not even posting a video. I guarantee it, guys. I talk to real estate agents all the time. So you're going to talk smack about me. So you're not even doing anything, bud. Sorry. And the last thing, as far as, you know, being self-conscious with yourself, this is a little hack that I got. When you get the video back, or when you actually finally edit it, or you get it from a videographer, just watch it with no audio. Okay? Watch it with no audio, and then put the phone over here, and then just listen to the audio. And then watch the whole thing. I guarantee it'll be a lot easier for you to actually post that video.
Do you guys
Go ahead.
do you guys suggest doing some videos without audio and just wording, and then with a good song, or out like with like music, as opposed to, say, if someone just like, hey, 3-bedroom house, this is the, and then the brokerage name obviously in the video, and then with the song, as opposed to, or like instrumental or things like that. Is that an option as well?
Yeah, just try a couple of different styles and
And maybe showing a house, and then 3-bedroom this, and then without speaking, and then another one could be you walking through the property, explaining it.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a lot. Something that has surprised me the most, and maybe you guys too so far, is that so much of what you do isn't super calculated. It's throw it up, see what happens, throw it up, see what happens, throw it up. And then for you, I would anticipate it's different from you to you to you, and it's going to be from you, all of you, because you all have your own sets of followers. So something that I've already taken, because I wanted a roadmap. Like I wanted, give me step 1 through 20, and I'm gonna go. That's the kind of person I am. Tell me what to do, and I'm just gonna go do it, right? But what I'm hearing from you is, don't have paralysis by analysis. Just start throwing out and see what sticks. And I think, have you guys kind of started to hear that too, like kind of over and over? So that's been fascinating.
Let's do a little something on that too. So
Yeah.
we always want a plan. Show me the roadmap and like let's get it done. Well, as we know, especially this year and can last few years, real estate changes like that.
instantly.
Yeah, so you have to adjust what your messaging is going to be, how you're actually going to be getting clients, what your whole approach is going to be, almost every 30 to 90 days.
Yeah.
Right, especially within the last 2 years, and you're just trying to figure out how can I actually attach to a message, that's going to be appealing to my clients. Only you are going to know that. This is you, this is who you are, this is your voice, and it's going to come through. Don't try and be by it like this person or that person. Be you. Show up authentically, and people will notice and people will respond.
See, you guys touched on something super interesting, and that is the overproduction, like multiple takes, redoing a video 20 times. Have you guys played around at all with just being like super genuine, where it's super flawed, almost like an out reel, like a gag reel at the end of the sitcom? And has that ever landed?
Okay, yes, that's hilarious you say that. So we did something like that where we were at one of our listings that had a basketball court in the backyard, and we were trying to say like, watch how this deal was a slam dunk, and we kept trying to throw the basketball in and we couldn't get it in. So our kids are like totally screwed with genetics. And so we did an out reel of all of our misses and like the ball hitting the rim and like hitting me in the face, and that one did like fairly well. I think bringing some sort of like humor to it is really good, and it shows that you're a person, right? We're all human, like we all like stumble over our words. I've said probably 15 times up here. Like we're all human, and I think sometimes those will take off, but within reason, right? And then one other point to what we were talking about earlier is like, so we had some friends over a couple of weeks ago, and one of the girls has a fitness business, and so she's like a personal trainer, has coaching, all fitness, and she has a ton of followers on it. She's like, guys, I'm really struggling with the fact that like I don't think my content is evolving. I don't think like my content is very interesting to people that are viewing it, and like all I'm seeing on my feed is like better physiques than mine, and better workouts than mine, and better production than mine. And we're sitting there and we're like, okay, but who do you think the people who are following you, do you think that all they see is fitness all day long? No, that's what you see, because that's what your content is, that's what your preferences are. So I'm sure all of us in our room, when we scroll through our feed, it's all real estate, or at least it's mine. Like it's just house, 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 house. Welcome to 123 Main Street. Like that's all my feed is. However, people who are following you, you might be the only person who does real estate in their entire life. So even if you feel like you're not the proudest of what you post, that is still the best that your followers are seeing, because it might be all they see in real estate.
Question. So, is it whatever feels right in the moment, or is there a particular ratio of like reels, posts, and story that you would do? Or is there one that you would just like gravitate more towards?
If you want to solid, so I am a step-by-step methodical approach. Have the plan, have the blueprint, don't deviate. So like, I am that way. I know. Well, because a lot of agents who I coach need that certainty. They need a feeling of like that structure, and they need a blueprint to follow. And so, in my opinion, and I think they'll probably agree, stories every day, post to the feed a couple times a week. If you're doing that, you're great. You're doing fine. Don't overthink it beyond that. If you want to get more intentional, there are some other things that you can do, but like the 10-10-5 every day, stories every day, post a couple times a week.
Okay, that's pretty
And it's
simple.
still useful when you want to use Instagram as like a CRM?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're still talking to people every day.
Okay.
And honestly, it's probably going to be a lot more valuable to you than the CRM that you're paying for.
Yeah.
Because you're actually using it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions for you guys. I got a little list here. I'm curious, when you cross-post on different platforms, is there, do you know a little hack or tool that it sends it to?
Instagram and Facebook allow you to do it to both.
But so just on Facebook and Instagram, it'll cross-post?
There's other applications out there like Hootsuite.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can post across to many at one time.
Hootsuite?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Social Pilot.
Yeah.
So when we were posting to 5 different platforms 3 times a day, I use Social Pilot. However, I do want to warn about using a scheduler because the algorithms hate third-party
They
schedulers.
don't like it.
Yeah, so you'll notice your views go way down. They might like go down to like 200, 300. So that is one thing where you can like mass produce the same video for every single platform, but the algorithm might take a beating.
It's not worth the trade-off.
So does that also affect like on Instagram where you can schedule a post to drop? Like,
Like through Instagram specifically?
Right.
I think those are probably safe. I think it's when you're integrating like third parties, that's when they get like, they don't like it so much.
Okay. And then another question, I'm curious what you guys use, your preference after you do a video, kind of apps that you might use to, like for post-production or little tricks, things that have made your life a little easier.
The Instagram app itself has some really good editing tools, alone, right? So if you just want to start there and stay in the app, I think the algorithm actually wants you to do that. We're going to push that even more. CapCut is another one.
Okay.
And there's another one, Video Leap, that I really like their transitions in the music. It's all AI. You upload the 10 videos you want to put in there, and boom, it gives you a completely edited video with audio and with transitions. It's like really engaging.
Okay. And you said Video Leap.
Video Leap.
Okay. Okay, last question. ChatGPT. I'm curious if you guys use that for any of your content stuff, and then also if you use any of the ChatGPT plugins as a way on your social media to interact with your followers. So you can have like that plugin actually kind of talk where it kind of looks like it's coming from.
I would never. Yeah, I would never allow AI to say. It would be like having an AI person stand at your open house and like greet your open house visitors. So that personally, for me, any of those plugins, I'm a heck no, techno kind of gal. But that's maybe I'm a purist. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I use ChatGPT for different things.
Well, for that I use it for writing stuff, but not for talking, not for engaging. I feel like that's like a runway ticket to getting your account canceled.
Yeah, you definitely want to be engaging yourself rather than doing like a mini chat or whatnot, where it's like, text me or DM me course or whatever, and it spits out this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But they have some interesting plugins. ChatGPT has plugins on video stuff as well. So maybe not just.
So even then, you have to indicate on Instagram that it was created by AI, and that is going to create other restrictions to your feed going to different countries, which I don't care so much about that, of course, because we're not trying to, we're not trying to be content creators here, right? So like if it is a barrier, if what you're looking at creates more friction or more cost than is necessary, like you might be overcomplicating it. Go back to just being a human on Instagram. Now that being said, ChatGPT, like amazing for finessing content or getting rid of that like blank page syndrome. Like we use that heavily. for sure.
Yeah. Property descriptions, you
Yeah.
can write it your own captions, it can,
Yeah.
it can like start to get attached to like what your voice is, all those kinds of, I use it as like a little assistant, I have a question, I don't even ask Google
Yeah.
sometimes, just
Oh,
ChatGPT. Oh,
Yeah.
here's my essay, boom.
Terrifying.
One thing I do
So-
use.
oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. I'll be quick. ManyChat. So ManyChat has been awesome. I don't know if it. Yeah. So ManyChat, if you write in your video, comment AZ for the listing sent direct to your phone. Whenever I post like a property walkthrough, I always have that be one of either the very first line or directly below, like brand new listing in Phoenix or whatever it is. Because whenever somebody comments on your reel or post or whatnot, you can have an automation set up where it'll send them a DM with whatever you want to send them. If it's a listing, it'll send them a DM and it'll have the listing link in it, or like schedule a call with me, here's my buyer guide, seller guide. You can have that automation set up to send to them, but then it can also have another automation set up where it comments to them, like it'll respond, sent, check your DMs, or whatever it is. The only time where the human aspect is lost in that is if somebody comments like, hey, great job, and you're like, check the listing in your weird.
I go back and delete it, and I'm like, whoops, I'm human.
Yeah.
I just like laugh it off. But
Yeah, that'll happen. One thing that is absolutely hilarious though is I had a reel go viral on Instagram for all the wrong reasons. So one thing I like to incorporate is like local restaurants or hotels or whatever things to do, like hot new bars that are coming around. So then that hits a wider follower base on your Explore page than a 2-bed, 2-bath in North Scottsdale, right? Like more people are going to be looking for restaurants or things to do or whatever. And I did a reel down at Mon Cherie in South Scottsdale, and it's a very girly and like cute bar. They have like $25 drinks. It's ridiculous, but so they have like a very cute bistro, and I thought it was going to get a lot of positive reactions. However, everybody commented on it saying how much they hated it, and the service was awful, and it was but it went viral for the wrong reasons. But then I got like 1,000 followers from it, and I'm like, whatever, like it worked. And I had to turn that ManyChat automation off because it was like, thanks so much, girl. Like the most ridiculous comments. Yeah, and people are like, I hated the service here, and it's like, great, happy you loved it. Like, it's the most ridiculous things we're getting commented, so I had to turn that off right away. ManyChat.
So is that automation too? What is it?
Yes. It'll respond with a comment and then send them a DM or any type of automations you want set up. $15 a month, worth its money in gold.
ManyChat.
Many,
Yeah.
many.
So Google. Oh, ManyChat.
ManyChat.
So if you guys want to Google that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true. I have heard that people anymore can tell when it's AI. It's like apparent. And then you kind of lose some credibility because you're like, that's AI. I don't know if that's true because I don't use it at all. But that's something that someone told me like a couple of weeks ago. They're catching on, especially these younger kids that are kind of growing up with it.
It'll be the same way with AI video. So
Okay.
even as good as AI video can be, you'll still kind of see, like, your brain is designed to pick up on that and to spot irregularities, and it's no different. Yeah.
Okay. And then do you guys have is it okay to post the exact same thing at the exact same time on the different platforms, or do you prefer to like post one here, and then maybe swap them the next day or something like that?
I do. Everything 7 a.m. goes out.
Everything's
all
out.
the platforms.
Okay.
While I'm on the bicycle at the gym, 30 minutes before my workout. Because it takes like 20 minutes because you have to copy, paste, caption, upload the video. Oh, this one's taking forever, and you have to keep the page open.
Oh, I have a misspelling. Oh, shoot.
I know, then you have to go edit all 3 of those.
Yeah.
So I do it, and for me, like I said, like time between 7 and 7:30 is what I find my time is. That's where I see, just over the last 10 years, where my audience, really engages. And then the reason why I chose the morning too is because when you post in the morning, it's going to get engagement in the morning. You comment and go back, and then you go back and you stick it in the engagement. You hit it again at 11:30, and then you hit it again before dinner. So it's going to see, hey, there's this thing that's continuing getting fed into the algorithm for the news feed, and that can also help out the post as well.
I have a question. What do you use to schedule your content? because I used Instagram to schedule it and upload it on itself, but for me, I realized that it wasn't pushing it out and it was getting low views. So then I started just doing it manually, but
I still just do mine manually.
Yeah, they don't like, they said the schedulers mess with your algorithm, so they don't use
So
it right.
on top of that, just because I have a bunch of content right now, and I think I got a little burned out and just stopped posting, and I'm in a place where I'm just getting lost, where it's like, oh, it already passed 7 a.m. Oh, it already passed, so I just don't post. So how do you know, or how do you get organized to know this is what I'm posting tomorrow, this is what I'm posting Wednesday?
Yeah, so there's I think everyone's gonna have their own, like, you have to just figure out what works for you. So for us, what we do is we have our way of planning out content and creating it in advance, and then we just keep it in a task management tool that works for us, which is Asana. That's just kind of an easy way to keep it organized, but even then it's only, here's the topic, here's the caption draft, but you still have to finish it, and then use a photo like this. So I'm not even going so far as to like completely put it all together and have it pre-done, but you certainly can do that. So for example, like when our second son was born, I pre-did a lot of content on my YouTube channel. I batch content a month out, right? So like it kind of depends on what works best for you. You can use a spreadsheet, Google Docs, Asana, pen and paper. Yeah.
Yeah, I've used like ChatGPT to like for ideas before. As far as like, hey, I need a week's worth of ideas, and it'll spit out a week's worth of ideas, and I just go start with that.
Yeah,
like that's a good starting point. That's what I've done.
So let me say a key word there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How important it is, or how quickly should you get back to the comments?
As soon as you can.
Yeah.
I'd obviously do like at least that same day.
Yeah.
I would say at least that same day, for sure. Because that, from what I've just, you'll get lost in the weeds with the algorithm, and you'll try. It's always changing. It's always changing every single few months or even every year. So what I say is, if you can do it the same day, great. If you can do it immediate, awesome. But that's just part of like what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you addicted to the platform. They're trying to keep you engaged and keep you on there and keep your eyes focused on Instagram, so you don't go anywhere else. So we can feed you more ads. We can make more money. That's literally what they're trying to do, right? So just do it at your own pace, for it. Just don't go 24 hours, because the algorithm can feed it up for up to a couple of days if the engagement's there.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, you guys are sticking around for a couple minutes after, right?
I wanted to add to what
Okay.
As far as batch content, guys, when you really start getting into your stride, as far as creating content, there's a lot of overwhelm. Because you're like, oh my god, I gotta create all these videos and I gotta do it every single week. Pick one day. Figure out your 10 videos that you're going to make, or at least, I always recommend at least 2 videos a week. Minimum 1, okay? Minimum 1 of something that's involved with real estate. Do it all in one day. It'll maybe take you 2 to 4 hours. Do all your edits. If you have a videographer, have him put it in a Google folder for you. All you have to do is go in there and get a thumbnail that he can make for you as well, and then all you have to do is download, post, done. Do that every single month, and then you can adjust what your ChatGPT titles or whatever you want to do every single month. And that's like you said, the real estate industry is changing. Something just popped up about the rates. You probably want to talk about the rates, right? Or obviously, if you have new listings, make sure that those go as far as priority. I'm a big proponent of actually doing new builds in new communities. People like that. It's new, it's fun, it's sexy. They're fully furnished, right? So those are really good, for content as well.
To your point, so one thing that I started doing that really helps is I do 1 day a week to do property walks. So I'll pick one neighborhood, one area. Like a few weeks ago, I did North Phoenix A5032 because there's a new development going over there. So I wanted to start promoting as much as I can in that area. And so I went and saw like 4 or 5 different houses. I did a bunch of quick videos, just side walking in a video, or like walking in a room and out a room, and I recorded it all myself and ran through the showings and the listings pretty quickly there. It took me maybe an hour and a half to see all the properties, edited them all that night, do it all pretty quickly, and then in CapCut, I use CapCut, I do the paid version. You edit it, export it, put it in Instagram, save it as a draft. So I'll create my entire post 1 day for the next week on property walkthroughs. So that's been pretty helpful for me, is just to batch record, batch edit it all, edit it, put it in Instagram, and then just post it.
I'm gonna save questions. We're running. We only have like less than 10 minutes. I know they're gonna hang out for a little bit. I don't know if Josh can because he has babies and still in the
Breastfeeding time.
But they're gonna be around. So please, and we have lots of stuff to do after. You guys are gonna want a gift to text people and put on your social media. And I know I do. And so they can answer. But in this vein of time, because I know a lot of us are concerned about the time that it must be taking to do this. One, have you ever paid someone to handle this for you or do actively? Two, if you do not, how do you allocate the time? Because you guys are all top producing real estate agents. So how in your week are you allocating the time that it's taking to do this? You can go ahead, Lacey.
So in my multifamily days, we did 1 day a month to record. We recorded for about 4 or 5 hours that day. It was like a Friday once a month. We all sat in front of a camera. We had a videographer there who would just run through educational prompts that we can talk about. And then we would send it to a videographer or video editor in the Philippines, had it all edited up, and then sent to us in a Google Drive each week. And then I also had an assistant who would schedule it all on Social Pilot. So that is for like more heavy duty if you want to do like a lot of posts. I would definitely say if you have the budget, look into a video editor and then a scheduler. It's not necessary, but that worked for that. But today, it kind of like what I said before is I record everything in 1 week and then schedule it for the following. So it's all pretty consistent, especially if it's a listing that might go under contract if you wait 9 days, 10 days, 2 weeks. You want to have it posted pretty quickly after you record a property walkthrough.
So I have a video editor who does my YouTube stuff. I've been doing YouTube for like 6 years, like 800 videos on there. Like I definitely pay someone to do that because I'm like, you have to think of yourself as like, I'm not a video editor, I'm not a content creator, anything outside my scope that takes more than a little bit of time, you gotta shop out. But when it comes to Instagram, most of that I do myself. I do have someone on like the marketing side that does help me a little bit, just get rid of like the blank page syndrome, but that's like literally within the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
So like over 10 years I've been doing this all by myself. And most of the agents who I coach find this is entirely easy to get done in an hour or less a week. Get it done for the entire week and then you're ready to go. You don't have to overcomplicate this. And honestly, there's so many people that are going to want your money in real estate. Like hold off on investing on anything that isn't absolutely critical. The rule of thumb is hire slow, fire fast. So just like push it off until you have to.
Yeah. I'm currently looking for an assistant. Now that my hands are full with the new babies. But what I would obviously say is like you definitely have to allocate at least, like we were talking about, once you get to a certain stage within your business where you know that this is going to be a consistent thing with you, you need to have at least one day. Right? So you're saying 2 to 4 hours, knock it out, have your titles there. I don't care if it takes you all day, get it done. Okay? Get it done. If it takes you 20 takes, awesome. Take it 20 takes. But this is for your business, guys. And this is what we were talking about this in our little text thread before we got here. Execution is a thing that the majority of people will not do. Some of you guys in here will not execute on everything that we just talked about. And then if you're going to have the same amount of business in the next 6 months, whose fault is that? It's yours. Okay, so it's about what you guys do with this information and how you actually apply it and actually execute it on it every single day. There's going to be maybe a 1, maybe 2. Hopefully everybody in here is going to change their business coming into 2025. But only you guys can make that decision, not us. This isn't our business. This is yours. And this is the future of you. This is the future of your family. And maybe even sometimes even your legacy. So like, what are you guys really going to do with it? Is it hard? It's as hard as you want it to be. Here we are doing it 10 years later, and we're still doing it. You guys need to make that decision for yourself and understand what is your why, what is your purpose, why am I doing this, what is my goal here, what's my 5-year plan, what's my 10-year plan, whatever you want to do with this. And make it part of your business. Every Fortune 500 company does video marketing, 86% of them. Start treating yourself like a Fortune 500 company, which you are. Believe in yourself, right? Have the drive to wake up that next day and actually do the work. If somebody's saying, I don't have the 1 hour or 2 hours, to do the video, you know you're lying to me.
Yeah, if you guys have the time to do it.
Yeah,
Trust we all have the time to
you
do
guys
it.
line. I know what a real estate schedule is like. Being a brand new agent and having all kinds of time. Having all kinds of time to figure something out, right? But I'm saying, guys, when I first started doing social media, it took about 5 or 6 months for the wheel to really start turning. And this is how I knew it. Because my title rep was saying, hey, wonderful video. My lenders are saying great videos. My home inspectors were commenting on me. And guess what? Boom, I closed 22 transactions in my first year full time.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah. Thank you, Joshua Smith. Social media is where the game's going, and that's where I'm going to be, and that's where I'm going to stay. And I want the same for you guys. 2025, if everything goes well, the world doesn't burn down. It should be a very, very good year for us.
So I guess everyone's homework is follow the 3 of them, record your first video, and tag them so they know you did it so they can cheer you on. I think that's a great challenge for all of us, maybe even myself. The last thing I want to say, and hard work's relative. Is this hard work? Like, I think the construction worker on top of the building in 113 right now is working really hard. I don't think recording a video and posting it is hard work. Okay, so that's just me. That's the coach in me, giving you a little reality check. Okay. Last thing, wrap it up really quick. What is going to be the next thing in social media, Stephanie?
Oh, it's this hot new thing. It's consistency. No, that's it. There's no secret. There's no new thing. Any new shiny object that comes around is not going to outwork consistency. And I think that that's something that we're going to see. I don't understand why real estate agents continue to question the power of social media, continue to question the power of connecting with people authentically. I think what's going to change is they're going to double down, and people who have not been consistent are going to be more consistent than ever. And so again, to Josh's point, in 6 months or next year, you can decide if you want to be one of those agents or still like, oh, one day I'll just start taking it seriously. I think that's it.
All right, great job.
One thing that I'm noticing really work, especially like if you guys are YouTube or watch YouTube, I notice like all the main pages have switched to just being the news. You guys like watch Patrick David? He turned his entire page into a media company. Right, where he's just talking about the hot topics. Talk about the hot topics, which is shareable content, which is like the new restaurant, or the TSMC building that's coming up in North Phoenix, which is 15 minutes away from where I live. It's going to bring a lot of infrastructure and a lot of economic growth. The Intel that's coming up over here in Chandler, right, Fab 42. All these things that are new and hot, which is shareable, that's going to get you in front of a lot more people. That's going to see, you're going to see your little shares on there. That's going to have friends and family share exactly what you guys are doing. And then if you can even partner with like little restaurants and say, hey, I want to make this video for you. If somebody says, hey, Josh showed me your video and you get 10% off coupon, boom, there you go too. Start trying to show up in people's feeds in a more authentic way. Yeah. But I think shareable content and being actual news where it's actually valuable for them. And just the questions that you're asking about yourself about the real estate industry, I guarantee your clients are probably going to want to know the same answers. So answer those questions authentically.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think it's important to look back on history to see where we're going to move forward with history. So if we look at like what used to be in advertisements, celebrities, like there's no way Jennifer Aniston is actually using a Beano, right? Like, and then we look at influencers. Influencers were like the rise of the last couple of years, and now people are starting to not believe in the influencers as much and not buy from them as much because it's not authentic, because there's an ad in every single, or a TikTok shop button, or buy off Instagram in every single thing you're looking at. So those are starting to go out, and then UGC popped up at one point. I think it's gone now. I have no idea. But that was a hot thing for a little bit. So I think consumers are getting really savvy that they just want more authenticity, and they want to actually see that you're doing something, right? Like, people don't want to be sold, but you can sell to them indirectly by showing them the result of your work.
That's great. So just be authentic, be yourself, and stop chasing the next big thing. Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you so much. Can we get a round of applause?